Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins, and today is the 12th day of the 12 days of Christmas. So this has been a lot of fun making these 12 different Christmas projects, and at the end of the video today I'll give you a lineup. I'll show you all the things that I've designed for you for these 12 days. And today, for the last project, I'm going to make a really pretty gift box. So this is something that features the Snowflake Wishes stamp set and bundle with these dies, so many snowflakes, and it's really the dies that we're going to be featuring today. And this is a pretty easy box to make. It's an explosion box. I've already done a lot of the work ahead of time so that the video wouldn't be too long. And if you're interested in learning how to make some of these boxes, I'm going to be having a box making workshop coming right up. And we're going to start with a very simple box, and then I'll show you how to do a reinforced box, and then I'll finish with an explosion box. And these are easy to do. You need a couple of tools. So I would recommend that you have at least the essential tools on hand: the paper trimmer, the snips, and the bone folder, which I will have listed below after the video is done. And then once you have these boxes, you can decorate them any way you like. And I will show you some examples of some of the ways that you can do that. So let's get started today. The Snowflake Wishes stamps, the So Many Snowflakes dies, come in a suite that includes an embossing folder, which is the Winter Snow folder, and I've used that as well. And then it features this beautiful DSP, and DSP is Designer Series paper. And I have a pack of it opened here so I can give you a little idea of what the paper looks like. It's this beautiful kind of snowy, snowflakey, watercolor-ish kind of paper in all of these varying shades of blues, greens, and violets. So some of the colors that it coordinates with that we're going to be using today are Night of Navy, Misty Moonlight, and Whisper White. And then there's a whole bunch of others. You can see that there's Pool Party in here and Highland Heather. And for embellishments, I have out the blue adhesive back gems, which are very pretty, and they're kind of two different tones. So you've got the cooler blue tones, and then you've got this sort of warmer blue and maybe gold tone. And I have on hand the crinkled seam binding ribbon, though I'm not sure if we're going to be using that or not. Now, as I mentioned, I did some of the work ahead of time. So I've cut out the bottom of the box, and this is a piece of 12 by 12 Night of Navy cardstock, and what I did was I cut the corners off, okay, and then I just scored it into 4-inch squares. And all of this information, again, I'll be going into much more detail in the box making workshop. And here's the lid, and this is a simple reinforced lid, and I've gone ahead and I've trimmed off all the corners, and I've scored it, and I've cut out all the tabs. So that's ready to assemble after we finish decorating it. And this is the piece of designer series paper that I've selected, and I like this one because it had these sort of Night of Navy splotches on it. And I also have some squares cut out, and these are in Whisper White, and these measure 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and I'm going to use these on the sides and the top of the box. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my die cutting machine. So this is the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and if you want to do any kind of die cutting or embossing, you really do need one of these. And then of the snowflakes, I'm going to use this pretty little one. Okay, so this is sort of the, from the smallest, it's the third one up. And I'm going to place that, I'm going to stand up so I can see this better. I'm going to place that in the center of the lower portion of the paper. I'm going to run that through. And that gives us a perfect little cutout. And I'm going to save this for later. Okay, so I'm also going to take another piece of paper, and this time I'm using that larger die. And get that centered. It looks pretty good. And this is going to give me this beautiful, intricate snowflake. And I'm just punching out all these little bits. There we go. And it has these tiny little, very intricate, almost like lace work in the center here. Just going to get those out. A couple more. Here we go. Okay. So I've gone ahead and I've already punched out a number of these already, or die cut I should say, should be more accurate. And I have some silver foil squares, and these measure 3 7/8. And I have 5 of those. And finally, I've got another one And this one measures, this is also 3 7/8, and this one has been put through the beautiful embossing folder, and that gives you an idea of what that folder looks like. So that's really, really quite beautiful, and it's picking up the light very nicely. Okay, so those are our pieces. Those are all of our elements. Now let's put together the box. So I'm going to start with the lid, and I'm going to take a piece of the silver foil, and I'm just going to glue that on first. Get that right in the center, and I'm going to just make these folds so I can see my boundaries a little bit better. There we go. That looks pretty good. And give that a good burnish with my bone folder. Okay, make sure that's nice and flat. There we go. All right, now I'm just going to go all around and fold all of these tabs and flaps. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on the little side flaps. And then I'm just going to tuck those in, paying attention to the corners. So I want to make sure that the corners are nice and square. I'm going to go around on all 4 sides and do the same thing. Okay, now I'm just going to check, make sure they're all nice and straight. All right, now I'm taking my bone folder again, and I'm just going to give that a good burnish on each corner. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little more glue to these outer flaps. And we can tuck those in. burnish. And there's our beautiful, sturdy, reinforced lid. Now, I have this piece of embossed silver that's going to go on the inside of the lid. I really love having surprises on the inside of box lids. Put plenty of glue on that because it is embossed. That in there. And I'm just going to use one of my acrylic blocks to give that a little press. I'm just going very lightly. I don't want to bend the foil and I don't want to press down any of the snowflakes, so I'm just going very, very lightly just to make sure that that glue is spread really well. And there is the inside of our reinforced box lid. Okay, and then for the top of the box, if I can find it, all the way at the bottom, here it is. Here's my large snowflake. Okay, and I'm just going to put a little glue in the corners. Around the edges. And I'm being careful to stay away from the very edge or from any of these cutouts, because you want to be especially careful when you're using glue and foil, because it's very hard to get off once you get it on the foil. So I'm just going to spread that around gently with a little scrap of paper so there's no big lumps. There we go. Oh, and I think I see some of these little punch outs that I didn't remove from there. I should have looked more carefully. So I'm just pulling them off with my tweezer. It's always nice to have a tweezer handy for moments like this when you want to do something very tiny and delicate. There we go. All right. And there is that beautiful die-cut snowflake on the lid of our box. Alright, so I'm going to put this aside for the moment, and now we're going to begin the bottom of the box. Let me clear away my area a little bit. Okay. Now, what I like about these kinds of explosion boxes, there are many, many, many different ways to make an explosion box. The box I'm making today has an opening in the bottom large enough to accommodate a Christmas ornament, and that's what I'm going to be using this box for. But you could also use it to put in chocolates or candies or any number of other things. Okay, but there are, and that's why I'm leaving these gusseted corners on the ends, so that in case you do want to have it hold a lot of little things, they're not going to roll out when you open up your box. But what we need to do first is to put we need to score the corners, you see, so that these two sides are going to meet up perfectly, just like that. Okay, and so the way we do that is we measure. So if you get your ruler out and you measure from corner to corner, that should be, I'm just going to make sure I've got the exact middle here. Give that a good pinch. Okay, so that should be at 2 3/4. So I'm going to double check that on both sides. 2 3/4. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to try not to get my head in the camera here. So I'm going to look at this more carefully. Okay, so that's 5 1/2 and 2 3/4. I'm just going to put a little mark on all 4 sides. With my eyesight, I have to hold this up very close, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry if my head gets in the way. My father used to say he would have made a great surgeon, except that he would have stitched his nose into the sutures, because he was also very, very nearsighted. Okay, so there's our marks. Now I'm going to take my ball burnisher and my ruler, and I'm going to bring, and again, I have to hold this so I can see it. I'm just going to give that a very light score there. And I'm using the larger side of the ball burnisher. And again, this is really hard to see. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to go around, Give those scores I just made a nice crease. And then go around with my bone folder on each one. All right, so that is how the bottom of our box comes together, and it looks great. We can test our lid. So that fits beautifully, just right. Now we're going to decorate. So I'm going to start on the inside of my box. And I have this piece of designer series paper, and what I want to do is I want to cut this up into sections to put into each section of the inside of the box. And I'm just going to be putting it into the square sections, these 4 squares. And so the first thing I'm going to do is just double check the measurement on this because I want it to be slightly smaller. So I'm going to cut the squares at 3 3/4. I'm getting out my trimmer, my indispensable trimmer, and I'm going to cut 3 3/4, 3 3/4, and 3 3/4. Just going to give us just a little bit left over we can save for another project. And then I'm going to cut these at 3 3/4. 3 3/4 and 3 3/4. So I think you can see how easy having this trimmer makes all these cuts so quick and easy for you. Okay. Now I'm going to start in the middle. Just add a little glue. And these additional layers of cardstock really help to make the box feel nice and substantial. This is a box that's going to be saved, be reused, and it's going to last a long time. There we go. And then over here, got this piece. Now, if you like, you could absolutely add the triangular pieces to the gussets, but I don't have time today to add those as well, because at 2 o'clock this afternoon we're going to have the BOGO sale. So if any of you are interested in getting some of these Christmas stamp sets, these are all retired items from my collection. I'm going to be selling them for $20 a piece, and for every $20 that you spend, you can get an equal amount from the catalog. So you're getting 2 for the price of 1. And that's going to start at 2 o'clock this afternoon. There is a group here on this Facebook page that's called the BOGO sale, and in it is an album, and in that album are photographs of all of the sets that I'm going to be starting with today. And if you want to go there and take a quick look and see if there's anything that you'd like to have, you can do so. And there's also some information about the guidelines for the BOGO itself, so that you know what has to happen in order for all the information. So there, look how beautiful that is. That is gorgeous. This paper is really incredible. But anyway, the BOGO sale, all the information is there if you're interested in participating at 2 o'clock today. It'll be a live event, and you'll have the rest of the week to place your orders, get your payments in, make sure that I have your current mailing address and the other information that you need. So okay, so that's the inside of our box, and now we're going to decorate the outside. So I have my silver foil squares here, and I'm just going to adhere them to each of the 4 sides. Make sure that's straight. Looks pretty good. And give that a good burnish. Okay, burnishing is very important on this project. You want to make sure that these things are well stuck down, and that the glue is spread out nice and evenly, and that there's not a lot of lumps and bumps. Okay. All of the supplies that I'm using to make this project will be listed below after I post the video. So it takes me a little bit of time just to get all those things together. So you may have to come back, but it will all be there later today. And I'm also going to post a host code, which is an 8-digit number. And if you include that on your order, for every $50 that you spend, you will get a free embellishment from me as a thank you. Okay, that's looking pretty good. A little bit of glue over there. Let's see if I can just get that up. Okay, I'm not going to see that anyway. Now, here are my 4 sides that I cut out with that beautiful little snowflake. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere them all around, just like this, so that the snowflake is closer to the center or the bottom of the box. And again, you want to be very careful when you do this, because it takes a little bit longer for the glue to set up on the foil, the silver foil, because it's not as absorbent. Oops, that's upside down. Because it's not as absorbent as the paper. There we go. Glad I caught that. I'm sure you were all watching and thinking, oh my God, it's upside down. Sometimes when you're doing these videos and you're thinking about, is the sound working? Is the light okay? Am I on camera? You forget some of the most obvious things, so bear with me. This particular snowflake is so delicate and pretty. I'm going to show you what the cutout looks like in just a minute. Okay, make sure these are all where I want them. So the cutout from this particular die is just so fine and so delicate. It just looks just like lace. So I've saved all of these little pieces for another project. Probably I'll use them on the card or the tag that goes along with this box. So I'm just going to give that another burnish. Close up my glue. the measurement of this box is 4 by 4 by 4. So you've got plenty of room inside to put some tissue paper and your ornament. These sides come up like this. And there are our sides. And now I'm going to find our lid. Get that on there. And there's our box. So beautiful. So there's a very, very elegant gift box that you can use to hold an ornament, chocolate candy, a pair of socks, a scarf, and you name it. It's a nice sized box. So I hope you got inspired to make a box like this. And then you remember on the inside, there's our explosion feature. It explodes open with this beautiful designer series paper, and then as an added surprise, you have this beautiful embossed snowflake lid. So let's see what some of the other things are that have been featured in these past 12 days of Christmas. Just get that lid back on there again. There we go. I'm going to zoom you out this time so we've got plenty of room. So there is our beautiful snowflake box. Now I've got these wrapped up in plastic, but I think you'll be able to see them well enough. Here's the card that was made using the Christmas Gleaming punches and DSP. Here is the beautiful hellebore that is continuing to bloom like crazy outside my wood pile. It's under snow right now because we've got several inches of snow, but this was a watercolor from life. Here's one of my favorites. This was the 3D Christmas tree using the, I think it's called the In the Woods die. Excuse me. It's got all these beautiful little branches that pop up, and then the gorgeous DSP and the special die cut stitched rectangle design on the mat. Here's our cardinal from Twal Christmas. No, was it Twal Christmas or Twal Greetings? I forget. But anyway, there's our cardinal painted in inks. I think we painted this in ink. Here is the adorable little gingerbread house that I made using leftover pieces from the November paper pumpkin. And this is a little treat box that could be hung from the tree or placed on somebody's nightstand. Here's our little chickadee that we painted with watercolor, and all these beautiful die cuts. Very simple, very elegant card to make. Here are two little watercolor bouquets. This was the two holidays, so this was Thanksgiving and this was Christmas with the beautiful little holly berries and the spruce boughs. See if we can squeeze them in here. Here's the Nature's Beauty card with the stamping off and the sponging of the beautiful deer in these gorgeous blue tones. And here is a card made using the Tag Buffet stamp set, which is a really great all-around stamp set to have for Christmas. And then I've got a couple of other things. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we have another box. The beautiful, this is the poinsettia die box here. And then we have the, what's this called? Snowfront card. So I hope you enjoyed, oh, and this one, our beautiful note card box using the mini paper pumpkin box and the Snow Wonder stamp set. So that's a lot. That was a lot of days. I hope you enjoyed the series. If you did, please subscribe to Notes from DandelionCottageDesign.com, and I will send you an announcement of all of the upcoming events and the classes and how you can register to learn how to make any of these things. I have my watercolor card club of the month, where every month we learn to paint a different watercolor subject. I have the regular card classes, and then we have the occasional girls' night out bingo party. And then there's a lot of other little informations about Dandelion Cottage and other things coming up. So please subscribe to Notes at DandelionCottageDesign.com. Thank you so much for joining me for the 12 Days of Christmas, and I hope to see you again at 2 p.m. for our live Buy One Get One Free event. Stay creative.